Previously on Hive, Alexander King stood tall while the citizens held whispered conversations along the muddy streets. The remainder of those in opposition to the collective attempted to disperse, but many of them were killed by the rain of plasma bullets. Chapter 2. The Outskirts. "Why wasn't I a part of your team?" Patton whined. "I did not get the choice," Alex replied, "but Takeo is with you." "If it's a choice between Takeo and you, who would you pick?" Alex snapped. Patton sulkily retracted his complaints. The conversation took place between the market and the citizens' residency. Civilians lived in an endless stretch of tented homes. The people walked in varied directions except for north. Those moving to the left with water buckets and clothing traveled to the communal water supply, and to the right to harvest food. The largest group moved towards the city. "Final check is done," Takeo informed Alex as he returned from his inspection of the MATV. "Go back," Alex told Patton. Patton complied, dashing back to the city without question. While walking towards the vehicle behind him, Alex saw David sitting on a black chair which matched both the turret in his shaking hands and the vehicle's exterior. "What's the most efficient way to operate this turret?" David asked. "Figure it out." David lacked restraint. The barrel swung from left to right with speed, causing him to recoil in shock. "Are you excited to finally get some action?" Commander Green asked Alex, leaving his respective vehicles for reconnaissance. "Of course. Which faction are we facing?" David asked. "Anybody in our way. We could try to capture them, find out why they remain so close to the city. What should I do if I see one?" "Target practice, Green proposed. Takeo warned the citizens of their incoming premise through the consistent belching of the vehicle's horn. Some were briefly defiant, but quickly moved when they realized that the trucks were not slowing. What followed was the scattering of citizens from the dirt road. A man carrying a pail full of water in both hands fell in avoidance of the trucks. Alex could not help but laugh, and Takeo laughed too. Both trucks opted for the same setup. The team's commander sat in the passenger seat, while one soldier took the occupation of gunner, the other as driver. "How does it feel to be a commander?" Takeo asked. "It will happen for you soon. All it takes is hard work and dedication. You have both." "Nah. I've been with the collective the same amount of time as you," Takeo reminded him. "You'll get there. I'll put in a good word for you." "I don't need it. They always make the right choice." Alex backed away from further speculation of the topic. Takeo's bitterness would not be smoothed with patronizing promises. "I've heard the citizens are starting to think that the scientists can't control the radiation of the restricted zone. We should throw them outside the city if they can't be grateful." Alex's thoughts flashed back to Ives's office. The possibility that rumors could hold a needle of truth within a pile of lies crossed his mind. The citizens dipped their bodies into the communal water supply. They had two duties: to bathe their bodies in whatever supplies they owned. Guards strolled along the sands at the lake and shouted at those who had exceeded their allotted time within the lake. "This is the one post that I'll miss," Alex stated. "What is there to miss?" "Naked women all day." "They're citizens," Takeo reminded him with disgust. Takeo was partly correct. Most were nothing worthy, but occasionally full visual access was enough to spark interest in having one as an object for his pleasure. A reward for all that he had done. Takeo had joined him once, weeks ago, when their former commander died. They both took to for their own in grief. The dirt path broke free of the congestion of Zone 6, taking them to the final gate of the city, comprising nothing but dry dirt on the ground. Human occupants were atop the city's walls. Soldiers paced alongside turrets, watching the land for reportable movements with sniper rifles that could spot what the human eye could not. Most of the wall was a construction of the old world, circling Zone 6 in silver metal, impenetrable except if attacked by plasma. The only part that was not protected was what Alex faced: Zone 6's main exterior weakness, a concrete construction. A deep sense of worry clutched Alex, amplified by David's lack of control over the turret which he caught in his rearview mirror. His last time outside the city's walls ended in the death of his commander, leaving him adrift, forced into the servitude of duties fit for a citizen. He made an internal promise that it would not happen again. "What do you think of David?" Alex asked Takeo. "He's smart. When we get back, help me get rid of him. Just make sure he is not fit for battle." Takeo nodded, confirming his loyalty. The main exit was made by metal cylinders at the edges of the gate, acting as catalysts for the plasma to work. Flickering purple plasma bars crossing into one another both horizontally and vertically created a pattern of perfect squares between them. They flickered on and off, showing clear deterioration. The 4 guards who protected it wore mecha suits, over-prepared to defend the city. Alex glanced down at his inferior AK-47, wishing for an upgrade of his weaponry. Takeo's R90 shotgun was placed in his hands, and his battle knife handle was strapped to his hip. The lack of David's battle experience corresponded with what he was given. His only weapon was a black Glock 20. He also had a flashlight strapped around his neck and a small kit of medical supplies placed in his pocket. Once Commander Green spoke to those ahead, the gates were lowered and the purple beams retracted back to their cylinders, clearing space for the trucks. The truck surged forward, its wheels coming to meet with the dirt of the barren lands, which only featured empty guard towers and a single trench being dug by citizens. It had only recently began, its construction needing days' worth of work to be worthy of combat. The citizens tiredly swung axes in downward strikes to break both dirt and rocks into smaller chunks. A second group lifted the debris into wheeled barrels and transported it to larger piles. They worked fast, but as the pair of vehicles drove by, their efforts were doubled. The group rode forward for nearly an hour when they were interrupted by a call from Green over the radio. "Drifters!" Commander Green exclaimed. Takeo's legs slammed on the brakes, halting the vehicle. "Let's go!" Alex screamed as he sprang from the car, retreating to Takeo's side of the vehicle for cover. He searched the forest to discover an elk had been executed. An arrow was lodged in its neck. A poison from the weapon caused the animal's blood to turn thin and green. It twitched, whimpering for escape. Meters behind it, 2 figures retreated. "Should we engage?" Alex yelled over to Green. The advancement of Commander Green's body gave him his answer. Alex and Takeo followed, but David had not yet moved. He remained glued to his chair, his hands clamped against the turret. "Shouldn't one of us guard the supplies?" David nervously proposed. "Let's go." With hesitance, David jumped down from his position. As Alex dashed into the forest, adrenaline pumped through his body, a familiar grip of excitement. The pattern of trees eventually ended, fading away into a downward slope of dirt. At the bottom of the slope was smooth rock, intersected by a plank that adopted the role of bridge between granite landmasses. On the other end were 4 black holes that were a possible means of escape. The camp was small, open to the morning sun, but those retreating were clearly not the only inhabitants. The duo managed to cross the plank and attempted to remove the structure. "Shoot them!" Green demanded. Green's sniper lifted his weapon, and the man who'd heaved the plank suddenly fell to the floor, his head bursting with blood. The other deserter finished the task of his ally, pushing the plank into the abyss below. He turned and waved his hand to the left, then broke right. A stray bullet hit the ground, missing his leg. Green sprinted toward the camp and the others followed. It quickly became apparent that Green was planning to jump the gap. When he sprung upward, Alex soared freely through the air in terror and landed on the hard surface without grace. The left side of his body crashed against the rock. A rush of pain ignited, which he ignored. The others followed behind him, surviving the jump. "He went in there," Green stated, pointing at the cave to the right. "We should stop and analyze what to do," David said as he dusted dirt off his knees, while Green's subordinates had already begun to move towards the escaping fugitive. "Alex, take your men there, I'll take mine," Green instructed. "Let's go," Alex shouted. When he moved, his foot kicked an empty bottle, one of many that were scattered across the rocky floor of the terrain. "Get your light out," Alex said as they approached the cave. It took David a second to realize that Alex was speaking to him. When he did, he fumbled with the flashlight around his neck. What light it gave them was pathetic. A small golden beam which gave the group very little in terms of a visual field. "There is no need for us to enter, we have already driven them out," David said. "Get in now or I will kill you myself." The guiding dim light of the beam revealed that the interior of the cave was full of large boulders on the ground, a roof containing crystallized triangles and bending walls. Alex saw it all as a possible danger. The boulders and walls would hinder their ability to chase, and the roof could cause great damage to their unprotected heads. As a precaution, Alex withdrew his helmet from his shell. After moving at a moderate pace through the twisting tunnels, they gradually became acquainted with their new surroundings. The ground was turned flat. On the other end was an exit that sloped upwards. There were boulders across the reach of the landscape. Alex heard shuffling feet. "Get cover," Alex whispered. Alex ducked behind a large rectangular slab, and David joined him, holding his flashlight in one hand, his pistol in the other. "What's happening?" David whispered. As a response, Alex urged him to shut off the light while he kept his ears sharp for any sounds. The shuffling continued. Takeo's large form was barely visible, but Alex could spot his dark outline, making it possible to convey instructions using his hands. He first pointed to David and motioned to the left, then to himself and drew a line down the middle before giving Takeo his instruction to flank right. Alex placed his fist upward to indicate a waiting period. The wait was torturous, casting doubt within his mind. He wondered if the sounds he had heard were the shuffling of animals instead of the enemy, and if, through his caution, he had allowed them to escape. A sudden smashing of glass came from the other side, then a curse from human lips. Alex clenched his fist, and the three men moved into their respective positions until a burst of gunfire blasted near Alex's feet. He dashed to the nearest cover, a small slab which forced him to crouch in order to cover his body. The uncertainty of where the attack came from made his heart flutter. A chip of rock that lay at Alex's stomach gave him an idea. He tossed it to the ground at the left, and the succession of gunshots that followed in that area confirmed his suspicion. His enemy was reckless, untrained. With a well-aimed shot, Alex managed to hit the outline of one of his enemies. He lowered himself before he would confirm the death of his victim, but then heard a howl of pain. At minimum, the antagonist had been handicapped. "Takeo, grenade!" Alex screamed. The grenade landed at the mouth of the exit, capturing those who attempted to flee in the devastation of the explosion. It not only destroyed the enemy, but the environment as well. The rock from the roof rushed downward without mercy, crushing bodies, piling rocks high, blocking the exit. "Forward now," Alex demanded. His rifle fire spread through the area of those who were not yet dead. The lack of exit forced the enemy from a position of escape to into one of aggression. They rushed towards Alex, forcing him to return to his former cover. 4 enemies remained, forging their way close enough for Alex to strike an unsuspecting man with the butt of his AK-47, causing him to stagger to the ground. Alex stomped his boot down onto the man's face until he saw a pistol being swung in his direction. But before he could act, the wielder caught the beam of a flashlight, which made him squint and gave Alex the opportunity to end his life. He was suddenly tackled to the ground. The surprise blow caused his weapon to slip from his hands, leaving him with nothing but the revolver in his side pocket. When he landed, his back skidded against the ground. A hard punch pounded his head and blood spilt from his nose. When a second punch was attempted, Alex quickly diverted his head to the left, which made his enemy's swing connect with the ground. Alex used his remaining energy to wrap his fingers around the man's neck and throw him off. Alex dove his knee into the enemy, causing him to bend in pain. The man retaliated by attempting to throw Alex back to the ground. Alex resisted and used the opportunity to smash the enemy's head into a slab. Relief took over him when he saw that both David and Takeo had left the skirmish unscathed. "We have plenty to take back with us," David suggested. "Their weapons are shit," Takeo responded. Fear took hold of Alex. In every mission he had been on, he always had a higher order commanding him where to go, what to look out for, and how to act. "I surrender," a slurred voice shouted from the enemy's side of the room. "I want to live." David dove behind cover. Takeo unclipped his final grenade and held it in his hand ready to throw, and Alex raised his firearm. "If you have a weapon, slide it across the floor now," Alex screamed. His request was fulfilled as the outline of a pistol clanged against the floor, creating echoes within the cave. "Anything else?" Alex asked. No, that's all I have. But my clothes. I want to keep my clothes. Put your hands behind your head and move forward. Just please don't kill me, the voice replied. Do what I say or we will kill you. A body rose from behind a boulder, the outline of a man with shoulder-length hair. Alex could see that his request had not been met. In the man's hand was a mysterious triangle. The defiance of his order ignited Alex's desire to kill him. What's in your hands? This is a piece of a hub, I swear. Alex's mind raced. An active hub would bring great ramifications. What's in your other hand? Just a bottle, I'll put it down carefully. The object slipped from the man's hand and shattered on the ground. Pass me the hub. It's just a piece, not an actual hub. Pass it, Takeo demanded. Follow us outside, Alex interrupted. They returned to the outside world. Their captive stumbled as he walked, tripping and muttering lackluster apologies. The material keeping him alive remained in his hand. The bottles, his slurred speech, and disoriented state was enough for Alex to deduce his drunkenness. It took double the time to leave the cave as it had to enter it. Once outside, the morning light provided the group with a proper view of their captor. He was in his late adolescence, handsome with deep blue eyes, blonde hair, and sharp facial features. His cleanliness surprised Alex. He had always seen that those outside the cities had no preoccupation with cleanliness. Put it on the floor, Alex demanded. The man did as he was told. The piece had a brown exterior with multiple deep cracks on its surface. From within the cracks, hard gray emerged. The man was not lying. It was from a hub. What was your faction doing here? Trying to have fun, he responded with a shrug. His eyes didn't meet Alex's as he spoke. Answer the question. We left a different place and came here. What's your name? Reese, he responded. What place? What are your plans? No plan, Reese said with a laugh. Alex kicked Reese in the chest as a response to his arrogance. Most of the things about the man Alex disliked. His lack of proper answers was one of them. This is new, David blurted, causing the attention of the men to focus towards him. He stared at the specimen with curiosity. How do you know? Alex asked. Look at the green. With a second inspection, Alex saw flecks of green within the chunks of gray. It rode the line between solid and liquid, dripping slowly, the mark of the Hive's substance. Where did you get this, Yeko? Alex asked. If I'm granted safety, I'll tell you. Takeo rose his shotgun. Alex prepared himself to give the order. Oh, you're gonna need me. A person who discovered a piece of the hub. Come on. There are others in your camp that can replace you, Takeo said. This reminded Alex that the mission was not complete. They had no understanding of how many Reese had within his group, or if Green was in danger. They kinda don't know I have this. Don't kill him, David interjected with desperation. If it's eventually discovered by the collective that we ended the life of a man who knew where an active hub is, we will be the ones at fault. How many of you are there? Alex demanded. You kinda killed everybody. He does not have any reaction to his comrades dying. It's a lie, Takeo speculated. I didn't like them in the first place. Now I want to talk to whoever is actually in charge. I'm the only person you need to talk to, Alex stated firmly. Your collective. Somebody's above you somewhere. Alex felt trapped. No matter what he did, it would be a partway failure. If he ended Reese's life without finding out the hub's location, he would be a traitor to the collective's greater will. If he allowed Reese to live, he would be playing right into his enemy's demands. Alex smashed his fist into Reese's lip, a much lighter punishment than what Reese's comrades had to endure. He restrained himself from another hit, deciding that Reese was not worth the energy. What's this? Green asked. Alex saw that he was lacking his squad. He has a piece of the hub, David blurted out. Why is he still alive? He can show us where it is, Alex said. Is this the higher-up that I want? Reese asked. His people just killed ours, so I ask again, why is he still alive? Are you forgetting who invaded who? Green picked up one of the bottles on the ground and smashed it. Its jagged edge proved to be an intimidating factor, forcing Reese into silence. "I'm going to cut your throat open." "We need him," Alex reminded him, raising his voice with passion. Despite the fact that Reese had proved himself irritating and unworthy of life, the fate of Zone 6 depended on the information that he held. Due to his drunkenness, Reese consistently tripped as he walked through the forest. "Get up," Alex seethed, tired of his antics delaying their journey. Reese vomited on the spot. "Move forward." Takeo placed his hand around Reese's neck with a harsh grip. Reese continued to puke, and a large portion of the liquid landed on Takeo's boots. "Are you serious?" I'm sorry, Reese falsely apologized as Takeo shoved him away. "We're hostiles. He might be more inclined to join us if we act nurturing," David suggested. "I'm not his mother," Alex replied. When the group arrived at Zone 6, they were immediately greeted by Hives. The citizens and gatekeepers continued their duties, but their eyes arched upwards toward his presence, as it was not a common occurrence that an officer found themselves at the city's gates. Hives first spoke to Green for a few minutes, nodding his head as he took in information, sparingly looking towards Alex's truck. With each glance from Hives, Alex felt like he had done wrong. He had allowed Reese to fall fast asleep, giving their hostage a luxury that he barely gave himself. "What happened?" Hives asked. "Our captive, he has a piece of a hub that was recently active. Take him to my office, just you." Both Reese and David withdrew from their positions at the vehicle as per Alex's request, allowing Alex to take hold of the wheel and have time alone with their hostage. Once they arrived at the barracks, Alex woke Reese, taking him inside Ives's room. "When you saw the hub, how did you know what it was?" Ives asked Reese as he retrieved 2 nightsticks from his drawer, tossing one to Alex. "I'm an educated person, sorry, but are those for me?" "Not if you participate. I need a location." "Can we make a deal?" Alex activated his stick and a burst of blue electrical energy emanated from the black tip of the weapon. "It was a lucky find," Reese sputtered, his confident demeanor gone. Alex felt a slight twinge of jealousy of Reese's eagerness to answer Ives. "Where?" "I can show you." "I know you will," Ives stated, looking back to the slab of hub remnants on the table. "Alex, touch it." "Isn't it dangerous?" Alex asked. "And it's a myth." "How do you know it's a myth?" "Because the collective pushed it, trust me." "The collective created the rumor?" Alex asked, needing additional confirmation. The idea did not seem real. "To stop others from taking what we want for research, nobody else in the world has the tech that we have for study. We did everybody a favor." Alex exhaled and carefully placed his hand on the interior of the piece, allowing his finger to encounter both the hard and liquid layers of the object. His perspective suddenly shifted far away from his own. The room fell away. A series of loud bangs infiltrated his ears. His eyes caught 100 white lights racing towards him. Once they hit, Alex snapped back to reality. Alex swung his arm upwards in defense and the slab left his hands, smashing against the wall. "Sorry, Alex stuttered, surveying what he had done with shame. The piece had been broken into 2, causing some of the liquid inside to streak down slowly. "What did you see here?" Hives inquired. The memory of what he had seen had nearly vanished, but the pull of emotion that he had felt left a stronger imprint. Rage, sadness, happiness, and jealousy erupted inside of him, surprising Alex with the proximity to human feeling that the Hive had within its being. "I felt emotions. Did you feel any intentions? Any inner thoughts of plans? Movements?" "No." A knock interrupted their stillness. "Find him a place in the barracks," Ives demanded of Alex. "A man like this should be with the citizens. You heard me?" Ives stated as he opened the door to discover 2 gruff soldiers harshly holding a woman. Her nose spewed blood and her eyes were blackened. "A spy?" Ives guessed. "A libertarian spy," one of the soldiers responded. The captured woman scanned the room. Her eyes lingered on Reese first, then Alex, then Ives, before returning to Reese once again. "Bring her in." Alex wanted to find out more about the supposed spy, but kept himself focused by leading his own prisoner outside the room, bouncing questions in his head of Reese's future. He was unfit to be a soldier and too brash to be a citizen. For a man like him, the best option was the mercy of exile. What do you think of libertarians? Reese questioned. Alex kept silent. Spies came in many forms. Some amassed power over a long period of time, carefully crafting a view of themselves as trustworthy. Some were like Reese, acting as fools so their true intelligent intentions remained hidden. Do you know who libertarians are? Reese continued. I doubt you do, Alex snapped, and it's just a question. Stop talking. I guess you don't know the answer. Instead of a direct strike, Alex threw Reese against the wall. You're a drunk, an idiot, and a fool. Pretty sure idiot and fool are the same thing, Reese replied. And I'm a commander of the collective, you will respect me. Should I throw you a party? Have you heard of birthday cake? It's from the old world, made for these times like this. Fake accomplishments. Alex stopped himself from harming Reese further, seething as he led him towards the barracks, hating his decision to follow the rules, and subsequently angry at himself for wanting to break them.